Hi everyone, welcome back to Bible in a Year. My name is Natalie and today we are on day 249. I am so happy that you're here today. We're going to be reading out of 2 Samuel chapter 11, Ezekiel chapter 5, Mark chapter 6, but only verses 30 through 56. And then today we are going to finish Psalm 119 by reading verses 169 through 176. So let's get started. 2 Samuel chapter 11. Here we go. At the return of the year, at the time when kings go out, David sent Joab and his servants with him and all Israel, and they destroyed the children of Ammon and besieged Rabbah. But David stayed at Jerusalem. At evening, David arose from his bed and walked on the roof of the king's house. From the roof he saw a woman bathing, and the woman was very beautiful to look at. David sent and inquired after the woman. One said, "Isn't this Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam, Uriah the Hittite's wife?" David sent messengers and took her, and she came in to him, and he lay with her, for she was purified from her uncleanliness. And she returned to her house. The woman conceived, and she sent and told David, and said, "I am with child." David sent to Joab, "Send me Uriah the Hittite." Joab sent Uriah to David. When Uriah had come to him, David asked how Joab did, and how the people fared, and how the war prospered. David said to Uriah, "Go down to your house and wash your feet." And Uriah departed out of the king's house, and a gift from the king was sent after him. But Uriah slept at the door of the king's house with all the servants of his lord, and didn't go down to his house. When they had told David, saying, "Uriah didn't go down to his house," David said to Uriah, "Haven't you come from a journey? Why didn't you go down to your house?" Uriah said to David, "The ark, Israel, and Judah are staying in tents, and my lord Joab and the servants of my lord are encamped in the open field. Shall I then go into my house to eat and to drink and to lie with my wife? As you live, and as your soul lives, I will not do this thing." David said to Uriah, "Stay here today also, and tomorrow I will let you depart." So Uriah stayed in Jerusalem that day and the next day. When David had called him, he ate and drank before him, and he made him drunk. At evening he went out to lie on his bed with the servants of his lord, but didn't go down to his house. In the morning David wrote a letter to Joab and sent it by the hand of Uriah. He wrote in the letter saying, "Send Uriah to the forefront of the hottest battle, and retreat from him, that he may be struck and die." When Joab kept watch on the city, he assigned Uriah to the place where he knew that valiant men were. The men of the city went out and fought with Joab. Some of the people fell, even of David's servants, and Uriah the Hittite died also. Then Joab sent and told David all the things concerning the war, and he commanded the messenger, saying, "When you have finished telling all the things concerning the war to the king, it shall be that, if the king's wrath arise, and he asks you, 'Why did you go so near to the city to fight? Didn't you know that they would shoot from the wall?' Who struck Abimelech, the son of Jerubbesheth? Didn't a woman cast an upper millstone on him from the wall, so that he died at Thebez? Why did you go so near the wall? Then you shall say, 'Your servant Uriah the Hittite is also dead.'" So the messenger went and came and showed David all that Joab had sent him for. The messenger said to David, "The men prevailed against us and came out to us into a field, and we were on them even to the entrance of the gate. The shooters shot at your servants from off the wall, and some of the king's servants are dead, and your servant Uriah the Hittite is also dead." Then David said to the messenger, "Tell Joab, don't let this thing displease you, for the sword devours one as well as another. Make your battle stronger against the city and overthrow it. Encourage him." When Uriah's wife heard that Uriah her husband was dead, she mourned for her husband. When the mourning was past, David sent and took her home to his house, and she became his wife and bore him a son. But the thing that David had done displeased Yahweh. And we will revisit that tomorrow. It's pretty astonishing that a man such as David could have done something so awful. I mean, it is murder. He didn't hold the sword, but he certainly directed it. It's pretty amazing. Ezekiel chapter 5. And in a lighter scale, how many of us have done something such as that? You know, we may not have done the actual sin. At least I know for myself that I have stood on a sideline and directed it. Not like David, not murder. But although this is history, times have not changed. So here we go. Ezekiel chapter 5. "You, son of man, take a sharp sword. You shall take it as a barber's razor to yourself, and shall cause it to pass over your head and over your beard. Then take balances to weigh and divide the hair. A third part you shall burn in the fire in the middle of the city, when the days of the siege are fulfilled. You shall take a third part and strike with the sword around it. A third part you shall scatter to the wind, and I will draw out a sword after them. You shall take a small number of these and bind them in the folds of your robe. Of these again you shall take, and cast them into the middle of the fire, and burn them in the fire. From it a fire will come out into all the house of Israel." The Lord Yahweh says, "This is Jerusalem. I have set her in the middle of the nations, and countries are around her. She has rebelled against my ordinances in doing wickedness more than the nations, and against my statutes more than the countries that are around her. For they have rejected my ordinances, and as for my statutes, they have not walked in them. Therefore, the Lord Yahweh says, because you are more turbulent than the nations that are around you, and have not walked in my statutes, neither have kept my ordinances, neither have followed the ordinances of the nations that are around you. Therefore, the Lord Yahweh says, behold, I, even I, am against you, and I will execute judgments among you in the sight of the nations. I will do in you that which I have not done, and which I will not do anything like it any more, because of all your abominations. Therefore, the fathers will eat the sons within you, and the sons will eat their fathers. I will execute judgments on you, and I will scatter the whole remnant of you to all the winds. Therefore, as I live, says the Lord Yahweh, surely because you have defiled my sanctuary with all your detestable things, and with all your abominations, therefore I will also diminish you. My eye won't spare, and I will have no pity. A third part of you will die with the pestilence, and they will be consumed with famine within you. A third part will fall by the sword around you. A third part I will scatter to all the winds, and will draw out a sword after them. Thus my anger will be accomplished, and I will cause my wrath toward them to rest, and I will be comforted. They will know that I, Yahweh, have spoken in my zeal when I have accomplished my wrath on them. Moreover, I will make you a desolation and a reproach among the nations that are around you in the sight of all that pass by. So it will be a reproach and a taunt, an instruction and an astonishment to the nations that are around you when I execute judgments on you in anger and in wrath and in wrathful rebukes. I, Yahweh, have spoken it when I send on them the evil arrows of famine that are for destruction, which I will send to destroy you. I will increase the famine on you and will break your staff of bread. I will send on you famine and evil animals, and they will bereave you. Pestilence and blood will pass through you. I will bring the sword on you. I, Yahweh, have spoken it. Oh my goodness. All right, Mark chapter 6, verse 30 through 56. All right, let's spend some time in the new covenant. The apostles gathered themselves together to Jesus, and they told him all these things, whatever they had done and whatever they had taught. He said to them, "Come away into a deserted place and rest a while." For there were many coming and going, and they had no leisure to so much as to eat. They went away in the boat to a deserted place by themselves. They saw them going, and many recognized him and ran there on foot from all the cities. They arrived before them and came together to him. And Jesus came out and saw a great multitude, and he had compassion on them, because they were like sheep without a shepherd, and he began to teach them many things. When it was late in the day, his disciples came to him and said, "This place is deserted, and it is late in the day. Send them away, that they may go into the surrounding country and villages and buy themselves bread, for they have nothing to eat." But he answered them, "You give them something to eat." And they asked him, "Shall we go and buy 200 denarii worth of bread and give them something to eat?" And he said to them, "How many loaves do you have? Go see." When they knew, they said, 5 loaves and 2 fish. He commanded them that everyone should sit down in groups on the green grass. They sat down in ranks by hundreds and by 50s. He took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to the heavens, he blessed and broke the loaves, and he gave to his disciples to set before them, and he divided the 2 fish among them all. They all ate and were filled. They took up 12 baskets full of broken pieces, and also of the fish. Those who ate the loaves were 5,000 men. Immediately he made his disciples get into the boat and go ahead to the other side to Bethsaida, while he himself sent the multitude away. After he had taken leave of them, he went up the mountain to pray. When evening had come, the boat was in the middle of the sea, and he was alone on the land. Seeing them distressed and rowing, for the wind was contrary to them, about the 4th watch of the night, he came to them walking on the sea, and he would have passed by them. But they, when they saw him walking on the sea, supposed that it was a ghost, and cried out, for they all saw him and were troubled. But he immediately spoke with them and said to them, "Cheer up, it's I. Don't be afraid." He got into the boat with them, and the wind ceased, and they were very amazed among themselves and marveled, for they hadn't understood about the loaves, but their hearts were hardened. When they had crossed over, they came to land at Gennesaret and moored to the shore. When they had come out of the boat, immediately the people recognized him and ran around that whole region and began to bring those who were sick on their mats to where they heard he was. Wherever he entered, into villages or into cities or into the country, they laid the sick in the marketplaces and begged him that they might just touch the fringe of his garment. And as many as touched him were made well. What a scene. Oh, I just absolutely love that. How exhausted they were, and, hey, let's go tuck away. But everybody followed him, and they found him. And he ministered to them anyway. And not only did he minister to them, he fed them. It's just, he just never stops. And I gotta tell you, I have held on to this story for many, many years, because being a single mom with a, how far should I go with this? A single mom with limited income, there have been times that I have maybe 5 loaves and 2 fish in my kitchen to feed my children and myself for, I don't know, a few days, maybe 4 days. And there have been times, and this is as a witness, not as bragging or pride or anything. It's just proof that I lifted up that small amount of food representing the 5 loaves and 2 fish. And I just said, please let this last. Please let this last. This is all we have left. And I am here to testify that it lasted. And there was even leftovers on payday when I could go to the store and refill the cupboards. So it's a beautiful, beautiful piece of history, and encouraging that he just never stops. He never, ever stops. All right, Psalm 119, verses 169 to 176. Let's finish this Psalm 119. It's been a while. Let my cry come before you, Yahweh. Give me understanding according to your word. Let my supplication come before you. Deliver me according to your word, and let my lips utter praise, for you teach me your statutes. Let my tongue sing of your word, for all your commandments are righteousness. Let your hand be ready to help me, for I have chosen your precepts. I have longed for your salvation, Yahweh. Your law is my delight. Let my soul live, that I may praise you. Let your ordinances help me. I have gone astray like a lost sheep. Seek your servant, for I don't forget your commandments. Let your ordinances help me. I have gone astray like a lost sheep. And when we are lost, it's very different than just walking away. Many times I have just walked away. I need a break from God. I just purposely walk away and do my own thing until I bury myself in trouble, and then I come on running back as fast as I can. But that's very different than just being lost, because when I find myself lost, I am searching for him. I don't feel next to him. That doesn't mean he's not next to me. It's that my human mind and my human body, with all these emotions, I'm not feeling tethered to him. I'm not feeling next to him. I'm not feeling that. But I'm still searching because I'm lost. And that's where it comes in, where it says, let your ordinances help me. And so when we are lost, we get back into the Bible and we read history and how he is always there and he will never, ever let us go. And that's how we find him again. So, that seemed like a really short day today. Are we really done? I am so happy that you stopped by today. Thank you for coming on by. Come on back for tomorrow, which will be day 250. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Have a fantastic day today, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.